Hey guys, welcome back to Core Academy. In this series of video, we are learning about Rust programming. In the last video, I covered about data types. In this video, we'll take a look at how to define arrays and how to access them. So let's dive into the programming. So let's create a new project, cargo new arrays. So you know the structure of this project. You have a main and you have a TOML file. The way to build this project is cargo build, and the way to run this program is basically by running cargo run. Okay, so let's go and take a look at this main file. Let's change it to array demo. Okay, so the way to define array is similar to defining a variable. First, let me explain what is array. So in the last video, I covered about tuples. Tuple basically consists of multiple values of different data types. Array consists of multiple values of same data type. Okay, so it's basically a collection of multiple values, and all values will have the same data type. So simple way to define an array is by using let array name, and then here you can basically define you can initialize the value of the array, and the way to access these values is by basically you can say array values. Okay, array values. Okay, so we have five values in this array: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And for tuple, we access the value of the tuple first value by tuple variable name dot 0, and second value is tuple variable name dot 1, and things like that. For array, we have to use the indexing technique, add square brackets 0 and then add square bracket of 1. This will basically add square bracket of 0 accesses the first value, add square bracket of 1 gets the second value from the array, third value, fourth value, and final value. Okay, now let's go and build this project. Cargo build, cargo run. There's no error here. So we got the values, array values 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So here what we have done is basically we defined an array variable array with five values. Okay, now let's go and see what happens if you just try to change the last value. Instead of add4, if you just try to access add5, let's see what happens here. Let's go and build this project. So it clearly says that this is the index out of bounds. The length is 5, but the index is 5. What that means is basically we have an array of length 5, but we are trying to access the sixth element. Okay, so it clearly prints that error during the compilation. Okay, let's delete that. Now let's see how to let add2. So if you have to define array with a specific data type, you can say this is array of 32 integer 32 type, and you can also say I want to define this array of 10 values. Okay, and you can initialize this 10 values using 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. Okay, and instead of printing all the values, we can just print last value of array 2 r2 of 9. Okay, let's just print one value. Cargo build, no error, run this program, and we got the last value r2 of 9, which is also 9. Okay, so that's yet another way of defining array, and we'll see one more way where if you want to define an array of the same value for like 100 elements, let's say, or 5 elements, let's say, of value 100, 5 elements. So in that case, we'll have to define like this. So what this means is 100 is the value that we are planning to assign to each of the element in this array, and the number of elements is going to be 5. Okay, so let's take this and we'll basically print here. We can also define let add. Okay, let's see what happens now. You learned about shadowing in the previous videos. Now let's see. So there's no error. Now what happens is, you see array values is 100. We just put 100 once in this initialization, and we're saying this value, just copy this value 100 to 5 different elements. And basically we are also saying that this array is of length 5. Okay, so now we saw how to define a array without specifying the length. We saw how to define an array by specifying the length and data type and initialize the values. We also saw defining how to define an array without specifying the type, but using a same value, same initialization value for all the elements, by also defining the number of elements in the array. So these are multiple ways to basically define an array and access the elements. Now let's go and take a look at let mute arr. So here we'll say 0:5. Okay, let's print this value once here. Let's try to compile this project. Okay, so there's no problem here. This is just a warning. No worries. Just go and run this program. So here you can clearly see that the 5 values have been printed 0. Now let's go and modify this. We have defined this array as a mutable array. Let's see if we can just go and modify array of 1 to 100 and array of 2 to 200. Let's go and print this. Build this project. Cargo run. Okay, now you see array of 1 has been changed to 100 and array of 2 has been changed to 200. All other values remain 0. So if you want to define an array and want to change the values of the array later, you will have to define the array with mutable characteristics. Yeah, hope you like this video. I'll come up with the next video soon. The next video is going to be functions. We'll see how to define functions, how to call functions. If you like this video, share it with your friends. um, I'll record and post the next video shortly. Thank you guys. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't so far.